Today we are going to look at method overloading in Java, with practical examples, and I promise, you will learn something new, if you watch it till the end. Let's begin. Java does not allow you to create more than one method with the same name in a class. Let's look at this practically. This is a simple Java class. Let's create a method here, name it Go. Now create another method, and name it the same. The compiler immediately complains about duplicate method error. Now, change this method, so that it accepts an argument. The error is gone. This is called method overloading in Java, where two methods may share the same name, but should have different number or types of arguments. This is the one and only one condition for overloaded methods. This type can be any valid data type. Overloaded methods can have different method signature except their names. For example, this method may have a different access specifier, it may return an integer, or throw an exception. But their arguments should differ, either in number or data types. Now comes a question. Why should you use overloaded methods? To answer this, let's create a method print, which prints, "Hello world." This method can only print the same message. Suppose you need to write a new method, which can print any message that is supplied to it. You can easily create another method with the same name that accepts the message as a string argument. Now, suppose another requirement arrives where you need to print the message along with the date on which it was printed. So, you can create a new method with two arguments and name this method also as print. All these are overloaded methods, since they accept different arguments. This is the benefit of method overloading, that you can create multiple methods with the same meaningful names. Otherwise, you need to choose different names for methods which perform the same task, such as print, print message, and print message with date, etc. in this case. Further, you can change this method to internally invoke another overloaded method. This makes the code cleaner and reusable. You can find multiple examples of method overloads in Java API. For example, go to java.io.output stream class. Look. Here you can find different overloaded versions of write method, accepting an integer, byte array, etc. If you look at this method, it internally calls other overloaded method, just as we did. Moving further, with method overloading, let me create three methods. Each method is named widen. Obviously, that's when they will be overloaded. One accepts an integer, second, a long, and third, a double. Define a main method. Create an object of this class, and invoke this method. Let me print a message to identify which method was actually called. Now, which method do you think should be invoked? Since all of these match the type of argument that we are giving at the time of calling the method. It is the integer one that should be called. Let us check. Integer it is. The reason is that, when multiple overloaded methods match with the argument type, then the closest match is chosen. In this case, the closest match is integer, since 5 is an integer. If we remove the integer method, then the method with long as argument will be invoked. This is because integer value can be widened to a long. Similarly, if we remove the long argument method, then the method with double argument will be called, since integer can be widened to a double. But this principle is only applicable to related argument types, and we will see that soon. Let's look at another example of argument widening and overloaded methods with user-defined classes. Define a class animal and another class that extends animal. Modify these method arguments to accept our own class types. Now, create an object of child class and pass this as argument while invoking method. In this case, one method accepts an argument of parent class, while other overloaded method accepts an argument of child class. You can easily guess which method should be invoked. The one that takes a dog argument, since it is the closest match. And if this method is removed, then superclass method will be called. Simple. Now, what if I change the supplied value to null? Again, both the methods match since a dog or animal can be null. In this case also, the method that accepts a dog argument is invoked, and the reason is that, when multiple methods match, then the child class method is always preferred. A few moments ago, I mentioned that widening of arguments is only applicable to related types. And to show that, let me change this to an integer. As soon as the method argument is changed, we get a compiler error stating, ambiguous method error. Reason is that, when method arguments are related, the compiler knows that method with argument, lowest in hierarchy, or closest match, can be invoked. But, when there is no relation between different argument types, the compiler can't figure out which method should be selected. In short, overloaded methods share the name but different types, or number of arguments, or both. When the arguments are not related, the compiler will raise an error if it finds more than one method qualifying for the supplied value. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.